That picture's me when I have my hair did. But somebody else has her hair did, and she's our guest, our first guest on Main Street today. That is Nancy Grace, who has the busiest schedule of any woman I know.
Hello. Thank you for inviting me. It's such a pleasure to talk to you.
Well, in our month of love, I'm just so happy to have you because I love you. I think America loves you too because you are a troubadour of the truth. You really go for it in all the years and all the shows. And then I've got a couple of clips. There's one that I love because I'm a fan of podcasting. So you have this amazing podcast that we're going to start everything off with that.
Crime Stories with Nancy Grace. I know this sounds rhetorical, but why can we put people on the moon? Why can we have a telescope looking at Mars and we can't save our own children?
Oh, that is at the core, isn't it?
It really is. And I recall that. And that had to do with DFACS, Department of Family Children Services, or CPS, Child Protective Services, leaving a child in the home after multiple complaints. And then the child ends up dead. It happens over and over and over. And it just, you know what? I thought I knew all about injustice and grief after my fiance was murdered shortly before our wedding. But now that I have my children, I didn't know a thing. I knew nothing. I knew nothing about nothing because everything changes once you have children.
Yeah. Your whole way of doing your show, of approaching everything. And I know that the stories that are closest to your heart are the ones involving children. And you have fought tooth and nail to find the truth about those stories, which brings us to the book, Don't Be a Victim, which is, it's a powerful statement. It's giving us back the power, literally giving us back the power. Tell us a little bit about this book and where it came from.
Well, you know what? Devin, I have covered, prosecuted, investigated thousands, literally thousands of cases working in inner city Atlanta as a felony prosecutor. I've been all over Atlanta, Fulton County and beyond trying to find the truth. Then literally landed in TV and have investigated and reported on more thousands of cases.
Right.
And I see a repeat of the same scenario over and over. This one goes missing. That one is found dead. This child was abused. And some of the stories have very similar characteristics. No story is the same, of course. And they're not stories to start with. Let me correct myself. These are real people who have suffered real injury in life.
Right.
And I just can't sit by and report on it and not try to do something about it. So in this book, all the proceeds, by the way, all the proceeds going to National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, I go through these scenarios that I've seen over and over and over again and figure out how can we avoid that happening to our children. Right. Let's just say shopping at the mall, in a parking deck, at a playground, at a ball game. I'll never forget when the twins went missing at a high school football game. I nearly did a backflip. Can I tell you that?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, can imagine.
Phones. Oh, how I rue the day they got cell phones. Anyway, there's all these scenarios and things you can do to protect yourself and your family. And that's what the book is about. Not to scare you, but to give you the power.
It really is. There are great tips in here. And I encourage everybody not to, don't put your head in the sand. Come on, you gotta watch. And all those things that your mama told you, they're still true. Guess what?
All true. Except maybe the one my grandmother, my mama Lucy, that I named my daughter after. I have a whole section on ladies exercising alone at the gym, where you go, what time, everything. My grandmother used to say, you keep jogging, your uterus is going to fall out. Now, I don't know if that one is true, But she was on to something about jogging alone. Okay, so
You're so right. Don't Be a Victim is available everywhere books are sold. And I will tell you, get this book and read it with your daughters. Read
yes.
it with your sons, because daughters are not the only. We sometimes get really caught up that daughters are the only ones. Sons are
I've got
just
a
as.
boy and a girl, and it's my boy that has gone missing at the football game and in a giant superstore called Babies R Us. I'll never forget it. I grabbed my daughter like she was a football, and I was in the Super Bowl running to the front door screaming, "Lock the doors! My son is missing!" I'm giving chill bumps right now just remembering it. So yes, son and daughter.
Before we get out of here, really quickly, it's the hardest subject in the world to talk about, but you talked openly about losing your fiance in a traumatic way, and that trauma affected you deeply. But you have this beautiful marriage now with David, and so how do you move on from trauma?
Here's my advice. I did everything wrong. Oh my goodness. When I first saw Keith, I was walking across campus at Valdosta State,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw him, and I literally stopped in my tracks, and I went, and then I thought immediately, oh, he's too handsome. He'd never date anybody like me. I just kept going. It took me about a month to break up his relationship with a nursing student and to just move on right in. And, we got engaged. So that's how that happened.
Yeah.
But it always felt too good to be true. And when he was murdered, I knew you were going to ask me about this, but I guess I wasn't ready. I just went into a tailspin. I dropped out of school. I couldn't eat. I couldn't hear the radio. I couldn't hear music. My mother had to stop the clocks in our house because I couldn't stand the ticking sound. I ultimately went back to school, not to finish my Shakespearean literature degree, but to go to law school, which I did. And my only recommendation I had to law school was my Sunday school teacher. And now they have all these coaches to help you get through this test and that test. Anyway, I made it. Praise the Lord.
That Sunday school teacher prayed.
That's right. She sure did some praying. Anyway, many, many years passed. I did not seek counseling. I did not seek therapy because it hurt me so much to talk about it. Finally, it was over 20 years after Keith's murder that I thought I could try to walk down the aisle with my longtime love, who I met right after Keith was murdered. And he really put up with me. We'd try to go out to dinner. I'd see people going in, laughing, having a good time. I'd start crying, would have to go home. He stuck by me all those years. He believed in me. He supported me in everything. When I was broke, working 3 jobs, he was there. The day of my wedding, little known fact, I was late, almost 2 hours. I just kept feeling, well, am I going to jinx David? Is something going to happen to him if I do this?
Yeah.
Well, if it hadn't been for my dad standing there to walk me down the aisle, we decided on Tuesday we were going to do it before I could back out of it. We got married on Saturday, and I did it, and it's totally changed my life. I have David, who's been by me through thick and thin. He's a saint. My mother lives with us. She's 89. He's a saint, and I have the twins. I've been blessed 1,000,000 times over. I never thought I could have this in my life after that murder. So my advice would be to never give up, to keep believing, and that God has a plan for you. As I always say, God has a plan, even if I don't.
Oh, amen. I'm going to say that God, I got the tears. So the Holy Spirit just walked in. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Don't Be a Victim is available everywhere. Before we get out of here, I'm going to play a clip of this amazing woman doing something totally out of the box.
So true, funny how it seems, always in time, but never enough for dreams. Head over heels
I said it's got to be for the dip.
Just let me tell everybody, those were not my eyelashes and that was not my hair, but that was my awesome dance partner, Tristan. Okay. God bless him.
You were amazing, amazing. That takes probably more bravery than some of the crime stuff that you do.
You know what? We would practice 8 or 9 hours a day. Sometimes my feet would actually bleed. I would fall asleep in my clothes, and it was heartbreaking for me because it's the first time I'd been away from the twins during the day, because that's when I was working every night at HLN. So I'd be with them all day. So I would go to those practices and I'd cry on the way because I did not want to leave the twins. If it hadn't been for my partner, I give him all the credit. We would not have made it to the semifinals.
You were amazing. I just had to close with that. Thank you so much for your time today. And
Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you. For those with love and without love. Take care. Bye-bye, Nancy.
Bye, dear.
Take care. Nancy Grace is amazing. Her book is called Don't Be a Victim, and it is powerful. You know, we talk a lot about being a victim and about how to move past trauma. That's a lot. It's very difficult. Yesterday, I've got another show that we do on Wednesdays at noon, and it's called Launch Date. And it was breaking the trauma bonds. And it's a pretty powerful show. It's still up. But this book really gives you some really good, I would say, sage mom advice. Well, speaking of some great advice, if you've got gutters around your home and you haven't looked at them lately, and we've had some rain, we've got snow showers still in the forecast around Middle Tennessee and some areas that are listening other places. Well, I'm sorry, but if you don't have Monster Home Services with Jameson Siebert, I don't know who you call, but if you're in Middle Tennessee, go to Joelton. We join Big J, Jason Siebert of Monster Home Services in Joelton, Tennessee.
This product, which I found in Loomis, California, back in 2016, this product I couldn't clog. So we're going to talk about some of the older concepts and things like that, about how water works coming off the roof into the gutter and how debris gets into your gutters. And then I'm going to show you the solution that we use. And I'm going to show you a couple different products that I've removed off of homes. I'm not going to name them. I'm not that kind of guy. But I think you might recognize some of the stuff. And
have you been visiting my house? One of them looks a little bit like mine.
That's right. So what I want to do is I just want to show you a couple things here. A lot of people talk about surface tension systems. Surface tension systems are kind of systems where the water's supposed to come down and the water's supposed to go in and the leaves are supposed to fall across the front of it. And we see the commercials and stuff, and a lot of them, they add to your gutters. This is kind of a topper or some type of helmet, or some kind of thing to where surface tension is supposed to come down and push that water into your gutters, and the debris is just going to fall off the front. But what we found, and a lot of customers have found, and this is just some stuff that I've removed. Here's one here that I removed the other day in Clarksville. This is one of the topper type systems here. Can you see that?
Yeah.
And so this one had actually fallen off of the house
Oh my gosh.
because it was so full of stuff. We finally got this stuff out of it. But this is what it looked like after a couple of years. The algae, the growth, and what was happening is this stuff here was basically, you see it's hard on there, I can't even get it off. This stuff here, I can't even pull that off. I guess they put a tar up against it or something. But anyway, this debris would just go to the inside of it. I have several pictures on our Facebook page of actually removing this, but this basically just fell completely off of the house. It was laying on the ground when I got there in the back, and it was barely hanging on in the front. And we ended up with a lot of fascia damage on that house and water getting behind it because of the screws that were put into it.
Right.
And it was just a lot of problems with it. Now, those problems could have been existing before they did it, but afterwards, either they put it up incorrectly on rotten fascia or water was getting behind it. I got there after the fact. But when you think about these things, they look really good on TV, but over the years, the moss and the stuff, and like this one here had a bad run-over spot in a valley that came down the roof. And so what they did to fix that is they went to Home Depot or somewhere, and they grabbed a piece of this stuff, and they cut their top open and put this on it, which is the whole thing we try to get away from because it catches pine needles and everything else and other debris and twigs and things. So it really wasn't a permanent, it was kind of a Band-Aid on a bullet hole. And with this, if a leaf or something falls on it, as you can see here, it's got these raised profiles on it, which are patented, and they're very unique, very unique. But what happens is nothing can stick to it flat. So when the water comes off the roof, it can continue to move it off of the roof and away from the home. Now, that is a patented product. Nobody else has got it. And actually, we're the only company in Middle Tennessee you can actually get this from. Another great thing about this product is the way that it's mounted on the home. We have several different mounting options on it. This happens to be one of my favorite. It's called the Bent Wing product. And so what this does is when we come out to your house typically and look at your gutters, if you decide to put a product on your home, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to clean your gutters out. And then we're going to reslope them. And then in the corners and everywhere that you've got on your existing home, we're actually going to reseal them so that the water doesn't drip out of the end of the gutters. So a lot of times we can go out to home and save the gutters just by cleaning them and putting some additional brackets in where needed and things like that. Where this thing really shines through is the way it's mounted to your home. Now we have several of them that mount that can go slightly under the shingle, but it doesn't void the warranty on the roof, no matter what people say. We don't go past what's called the starter strip of the roof. But we actually mount this down in the front onto the lip of the gutter so it can't come up or fly up. And then we actually mount it to the fascia. And that is a big deal because your bracket up underneath this basically is setting right against the roof and where the screw is. But back here where the screw comes into the bracket on your gutters, the water can't get to it. So water can't get behind your siding fascia or into your wood behind it. So it keeps the water going down and it keeps it going in the gutter. But by mounting it like that, after we reslope your gutters, the great thing about this is, and another feature real quick with it, you've got these splash guards, and no matter what type of gutter you put on your home, there's always a splash guard there. And it always catches the leaves.
Wow.
And so what we do is we actually have a specialized corner that actually goes into the corner. We have it in several colors, but it goes into the corner, and as the water comes rushing down that corner, these ridges, these raised profiles here, actually take the water and disperse them left and right. We do away with that old guard that was sitting up there.
Yes.
And then the debris falls off. So there's no cleaning in that area either. If you put these on your home, you'll never clean your gutters again. You clean out your gutters again. And even this system itself won't clog. A lot of companies will tell you that, hey, if your gutters ever clog, we'll clean them. Well, when you cover them all the way up and something's spilling over them or it's, something like that, the gutters will never clog. But will the system never clog? Ask them that.
A family-owned company right here in Middle Tennessee, and doing it. How long have you been working with home improvement?
Oh, me and my partner, I have a silent partner with me, or my best friend of 30 years is what I call him. We've both been in the home improvement business for a combined 60 years.
Monster Home Services with Gutters by Valor. Find out more today and tell them Main Street sent you.
We love our friends at Monster Home Services, and it really is a good product. And in the coming weeks, we're going to show some of the other things they do, whether it's screened-in porches or fireplaces or kitchens on the outside. They do a lot of really neat things at the most affordable price you're going to find, and great, great work. And when you call them, Big J shows up at your house, not a bunch of commission salespeople, because they don't have commission salespeople. That helps. Hey, I love finding great books and great music for you. And Chris Kulik, our general manager here at New Media at Main Street, he handed me a book and he said, "You're going to love this book. It's by Chris Hillman." You go, "Who is Chris Hillman?" You go back to listen to music by the Byrds, by the Flying Burrito Brothers, by Desert Rose Band. Chris Hillman is literally a common thread in the music of our lives. If you were a kid of the 60s or the 70s, or you started growing up and you started watching documentaries about those time periods, the soundtrack is really underscored by Chris Hillman. And he's got a brand new book. It's called Time Between. I did an interview with him on Music from Main Street, which is a new spin-off show that we're doing, and it's going to re-air on Saturday. Saturdays are a day that we're going to have just, it's not going to be a regular thing, but when I get a chance to sit down and talk with somebody that's very extra special, in the coming weeks, I talked to Bob Morrison, who was the creative behind Looking for Love, one of the most influential songs of the country music genre. We have a sit down, and that'll be coming up in the next few weeks. But just to give you an idea who Chris Hill is, here's kind of a revisit with his friend Herb Peterson. And it's just a fabulous, the way their sound, it's listen to their sound, the jangly guitars, very California, very country, and very influential.
For the vandals in court, say the bells of Newport. All will be well if, say the green bells of Cardiff. Why so worried, sisters, why? Say the silver bells of wine. And what will you give me? Say the sad bells of rain.
Chris Hillman, it's just a great book, and it was just a joy to sit down and interview with him. And you can find that if you scroll down Main Street Today's page. And if you are here and you just found us, subscribe to Main Street Today. We're part of the Main Street family. And speaking of family, the guy that I depend on to keep me healthy, well, at least to keep me in health insurance, to keep me healthy, and that is Health Insurance Harvey.
If you find yourself in need of health insurance, one Google search and a questionnaire could start your phone ringing and those emails and those texts coming from companies all over, and it can be really confusing. And sometimes you get caught up in buying something only to find that it covers very little of what you actually need. And sometimes it can be too late to do anything about it, after the fact, like when you need your insurance. That's why one click to my friend, my insurance guy, Health Insurance Harvey, can keep that from happening. HarveyDurham.com. Chat with him, set up a virtual appointment anywhere in the country practically. He's licensed in 40 states. He'll look at your needs, your budget, and share every single thing that his insurance is going to cover and what it won't. You don't pay for what you don't need. If he can't save you money or can't give you better coverage, he won't sign you. You are under no obligation. So do yourself a favor. Get a free comparison quote from Health Insurance Harvey. It just might work for you like it did me. I'm not his commercial announcer. I'm his client at HarveyDurham.com.
Harvey probably regrets the day he gave me his cell phone number. But he gives everybody his cell phone number. He wants people to be able to reach him if they got a problem. And I've never had an insurance agent that did that. And he literally said, look, my cell phone is on my business card. I want people to be able to reach me if they got a problem. So that's the truth. That's who he is. And I'm proud to share him with you. Speaking of share with you, we have our Songs of Love contest. But before we get into that, featuring Tim Andrews, who is a Buffalo, New York transplant to Nashville, I want to tell you about something we're doing really neat here at Main Street. Remember when you were in school, maybe you had a school paper, and you could declare your love for someone with a classified ad around Valentine's Day? Well, we're putting technology with our audience of papers, and we're creating an online way to declare your love to your loved one and uploading your video to say how much you love someone special. At every one of our Main Street newspapers websites, you will find a banner to upload and share your story of love so that everybody can find it. And then you can say, hey, honey, guess what I did? And send the link to her or to him. And or maybe you do it together and tell your love story. But you can upload your stories of love. It's a pretty neat way. It's like the old-fashioned classifieds meet new technology right here at Main Street. We love that. Well, we talked about getting through trauma with Nancy Grace and her new book. But getting through trauma and moving on is a tough, tough thing. And Tim Andrews actually has sent us his video and his contribution to our Songs of Love competition. Remember, after this show, every view is a vote and every share is a vote. At the end of the month, we'll give it another 28 days. So everybody has at least 28 days to promote
their song, their episode where that song is. And Tim Andrews is a transplant, like I said, from Buffalo, New York. He probably laughs at all of our snow showers in Middle Tennessee, and we just get so crazy about them. But he's been working for 2 years since he moved here from Buffalo in the clubs downtown, and even during COVID, he was been able to find a place to have a gig and a way to do it. And he's really working really, really hard. But this particular song is called Moving On. And for all those people who've had heartache, heartbreak, and maybe a huge loss like Nancy Grace talked about, this song is absolutely perfect for our month of love.
Trace. Gotta keep moving on. Gotta keep moving on. And another chance will come along. It'll be for real. Be for real. Going down over the hill, and the grass keeps growing taller, it's standing still. Oh, and the river of your life, it's rushing away, and you know you lost all your reason to stay. You gotta keep me Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Tim Andrews. You can find Tim Andrews Music on Facebook, and of course, vote for him here. Share and vote. Every view is a vote. Thank you so much for joining us today. Remember, be safe, be kind, and remember, you are loved.